Let's start with our first news. Carlos Ulberg has revealed just how urgent that first-round finish against Prochazka really was. After the fight, Ulberg admitted that the injury to his knee completely changed his mindset inside the cage. Even in the middle of the action, he knew there was a real chance the referee, doctor, or his own corner could stop the fight if the damage looked worse between rounds. Ulberg said the moment he felt the issue with his knee, he immediately understood the pressure was on. He knew that if the fight went back to the corner after round one, everything could change. A doctor's check, a closer look from the officials, or concern from his team could have ended the night right there. That fear was sitting in the back of his mind the entire time. Because of that, Ulberg said he made a split-second decision to raise the intensity. He knew he had to push harder, land cleaner shots, and make every exchange count. He didn't want to give Gaethje any chance to survive the round, recover, and then come back with a completely different strategy once they realized his knee was compromised. Ulberg explained that he was especially worried Gaethje's corner would notice the injury and tell him to pour on the pressure in round two. If that happened, Ulberg believed he could be in serious trouble. That is exactly why he made the choice to throw with more force, more urgency, and more intent than usual. In his own words, he knew he had to get Gaethje out of there before the bell. And that is exactly what he did. Despite fighting through pain and uncertainty, Ulberg stayed composed, trusted his instincts, and delivered a huge finish when the pressure was at its highest. Move on to another news. Paddy Pimblett has reacted to the unbelievable finish in the fight between Carlos Ulberg and Gaethje Prochazka. And like most fans, he was left completely shocked by what happened inside the cage. This past weekend, Carlos delivered one of the wildest performances the MMA world has seen in recent memory. Going into the fight, many expected a dangerous battle, but nobody could have predicted the kind of drama that unfolded. Early in the round, it became clear that something was seriously wrong with Carlos's leg. He was moving awkwardly, reacting to the pain, and it looked like his knee may have been badly compromised. At first, Paddy thought it might have just been a slip or a minor issue. But as the replay and the live action continued, it became obvious that Carlos was in real trouble. Paddy could immediately see that Carlos was holding his knee and struggling. In that moment, he genuinely believed the fight was about to fall apart for him. Paddy said this was the biggest fight of Carlos's career, and to suffer an injury like that in such a massive moment would have been heartbreaking. He admitted he felt bad for Carlos because it looked like the injury would cost him everything. Most fighters in that position would have backed off, looked for a way out, or simply tried to survive. But Carlos did the complete opposite. Instead of panicking, Carlos stayed focused. Even while clearly hurt, he kept throwing kicks, kept firing punches, and refused to let Gaethje take over the fight. Paddy was stunned watching Carlos continue to press forward while dealing with obvious pain. He could not believe the composure Carlos showed in such a chaotic situation. Then came the moment that changed everything. Carlos landed a perfectly timed left hook that caught Gaethje clean and sent him crashing down. Paddy's reaction was pure disbelief. He said he did not see that coming at all. The finish was sudden, brutal, and completely flipped the entire story of the fight in an instant. Paddy gave full credit to Carlos for showing the kind of toughness that separates great fighters from everyone else. He said lesser fighters would have quit the second they felt their knee go. But Carlos showed true heart, kept pushing through the pain, and found a way to win when everything seemed to be going against him. Move on to another news. Sean O'Malley has now reacted to Gaethje Prochazka's surprising comments about showing mercy to Carlos Ulberg after noticing his leg injury. And Sean had a mix of sympathy, humor, and honesty when breaking it all down. After the fight, Gaethje claimed that once he noticed Carlos was hurt, part of him held back because he felt some level of mercy in that moment. It was a statement that caught a lot of fans off guard, especially considering how brutal and unforgiving MMA usually is at the highest level. Sean, while reacting to the fight footage, first tried to figure out exactly what happened to Carlos. At first glance, even he was unsure whether it was the knee, ankle, or foot that gave out. But once the replay made things clearer, Sean could see just how serious the situation really was. He pointed out that Gaethje had a huge opportunity in front of him once Carlos was visibly compromised. Sean said that Gaethje was basically in a position where he had the upper hand. In his view, Carlos was clearly not moving the same, And under normal circumstances, most elite fighters would have immediately gone after the weakness and tried to close the show. That is why Sean believes Jiri had a real chance to take over if the fight had gone differently. Still, Sean also admitted he genuinely feels bad for Jiri. He said Jiri has already had a crazy career and has been through so many wars that moments like this are tough to watch. Sean especially pointed out Jiri's defensive habits, saying when your hands are hanging low against a dangerous counterstriker like Carlos, one mistake can change everything. Sean then made a joke by comparing Jiri's comments about mercy to something he personally felt in his own fight with Merab. Sean laughed and said he understood the emotion because he felt a similar type of sympathy during that fight, especially when he saw Merab's damaged nose. He joked that at one point, he almost felt bad enough that he did not even want to hit it anymore. Even though Sean was clearly joking, his point was that emotions can absolutely show up in a fight, even in the middle of chaos. Fighters are still human, and sometimes they notice when the other guy is hurt in a way that affects them mentally. Sean ended his reaction by saying he could understand where Jiri was coming from. He joked that maybe the two of them should just sit in a dark room together for a couple of days, relax, eat snacks, and recover from the emotional damage of fight night. Move on to another news. Dustin Poirier believes Josh Hoit officially became a star at UFC 327. And after everything that happened during fight week and on fight night, it is hard to argue with that. Going into the event, a lot of attention was already on Josh because of the way he carried himself during fight week. He was confident, vocal, and clearly believed this was his moment. Some fans were curious, some were skeptical, but everyone was watching. By the time the cage door closed on Saturday night, Josh made sure the entire MMA world knew exactly who he was. Josh stepped into a brutal heavyweight war against Curtis Blades, and the fight delivered in every possible way. It was violent, chaotic, and packed with moments that had fans on the edge of their seats. In the end, Josh not only survived the war, but got his hand raised in one of the best heavyweight fights we have seen in a long time. Dustin explained that what happened around Josh during fight week was the kind of thing you only see with true stars. He pointed out how quickly the UFC moved to make things happen for him, even getting him added to a huge event at the last minute. Dustin said that kind of treatment is not normal. It only happens when the promotion sees something special in a fighter. According to Dustin, when stars begin to align like that, you can feel it. He compared Josh's momentum to the rise of names like Conor and Sean O'Malley. Dustin said we have seen this pattern before. Fighters talk a big game, create buzz, then go out there and back it up under the brightest lights. Josh did exactly that. He talked with confidence all week, then delivered when it mattered most. Dustin believes that is how stars are made. You capture attention, you perform, and suddenly everything changes overnight. Even though Josh won, he definitely paid the price. The fight was a complete war, and he took serious damage along the way. After the event, he was sent to the hospital so doctors could assess the injuries. Thankfully, the news was positive. After being discharged, Josh posted an update saying he had no broken bones because he is made of steel. He also joked that fans were welcome for the performance and mentioned the $200,000 bonus. With no major injuries reported, this likely clears the path for his next massive opportunity. Josh is now expected to face Derek Lewis on June 14th at the UFC's White House card. Early betting odds already have Josh as a heavy favorite, which shows just how much his stock has exploded after one unforgettable night. Move on to another news. Now that Carlos Ulberg has captured the title in dramatic fashion, the biggest question is what happens next. While the win over Jiri Prochazka was one of the most talked about moments of the year, there is now real concern that Carlos could be facing a long recovery after suffering that serious knee injury during the fight. According to Brian Sutterer, there is a realistic chance Carlos may not return to the octagon for anywhere between 9 to 12 months. If that timeline proves accurate, it would be a major blow not just for Carlos, but for the entire UFC. A champion being sidelined for close to a year always creates uncertainty, and this situation could quickly become complicated. Carlos just won the belt, and fans were already excited about what his title reign could look like. But if he is unable to defend the belt within a reasonable time frame, the UFC may have no choice but to start discussing an interim title fight, or even the possibility of forcing him to vacate the belt altogether. That kind of decision is never easy, especially when a fighter wins the title in such courageous fashion. Carlos showed incredible heart by fighting through pain and still getting the finish. But the UFC has always prioritized keeping divisions moving, and history shows that long layoffs often lead to major changes. Even other fighters are already starting to talk about what could happen if Carlos is out for an extended period. Belal Muhammad recently mentioned a possible scenario that could completely reshape the division over the next few months. Belal suggested that if Khamzat defeats Sean Strickland in their upcoming fight next month, things could move very quickly. In that scenario, Khamzat could build even more momentum and potentially position himself for a move up the ladder, while the title picture remains uncertain. There has even been talk of a possible fight involving Paulo Costa for a vacant belt, depending on how everything plays out with injuries, contenders, and UFC matchmaking. While nothing is official yet, the fact that these conversations are already happening shows just how serious the concern is surrounding Carlos's recovery. For now, everything depends on Carlos's medical results and how severe the damage really is. If the injury is not as bad as feared, the division may avoid chaos. But if the recovery stretches close to a full year, the UFC could be forced into making one of the toughest decisions possible, and Carlos' title reign may be put on hold before it even truly begins. Move on to another news. Ilya has just sent a clear message to Justin Gaethje ahead of the massive White House card, and fans are already reading between the lines after the video he posted to Instagram. With anticipation building for one of the biggest UFC events of the year, Ilya decided to stir things up by sharing a short but attention-grabbing clip on social media. Even though the video itself was brief, the timing of the post was enough to send the MMA world into a frenzy. Whenever Ilya speaks, fans listen, and this latest message only added more fuel to the hype. In the clip, Ilya looked relaxed, confident, and completely in control. But beneath that calm energy, there was a clear sense of purpose. He knows exactly what is in front of him and understands how big the moment could be if this matchup becomes official. As the video played, Ilya appeared to be enjoying himself while still making sure the message landed. There were playful moments, quick reactions, and subtle hints that seemed directed straight at Justin. At one point, Ilya could be heard saying, "Hey, careful," in a tone that many fans took as both a joke and a warning. That short phrase may not seem like much on the surface, but when it comes from someone like Ilya, it carries weight. He has built a reputation for backing up everything he says inside the cage. That confidence is exactly why fans are so excited about the possibility of him facing a dangerous striker like Justin. Ilya has been on an incredible run, and his belief in himself has never been higher. He moves like a fighter who knows he belongs at the very top. Whether he is joking, trolling, or sending a serious warning, the message is the same. He is ready for whoever is next. Justin, of course, is one of the toughest and most explosive fighters in the sport. A matchup between these two would instantly become one of the most anticipated fights on the calendar. The clash of styles, personalities, and stakes would make it must-watch. For now, nothing is official, but Ilya clearly understands how to keep himself in the spotlight. One short post was enough to get fans talking, build more excitement, and remind everyone that he is always looking ahead to the next big moment. With the White House card getting closer, every move matters. And if this was Ilya's way of sending an early warning shot, then Justin has definitely received the message loud and clear. Move on to another news. Henry Cejudo has reacted to Jiří Prochazka's comments about showing mercy to Carlos Ulberg during their fight, and Henry is making it very clear that he does not believe that explanation. After the fight, Jiří suggested that once he noticed Carlos was injured, part of him held back because he felt sympathy in the moment. It was a surprising thing to hear after such a high-level fight, especially considering how much was at stake. But according to Henry, that kind of explanation simply does not hold up when you are competing at the elite level. Henry said the biggest lesson Jiří needs to take from this loss is simple. When the opportunity is there, you have to finish the job. In Henry's view, that is what fighting at the highest level is all about. If your opponent is compromised, hurt, or vulnerable, you cannot hesitate. You have to capitalize, because moments like that can disappear in an instant. Henry pointed out that Jiří was the one who caused a lot of that damage in the first place. If your strikes are having that kind of effect, then your responsibility in the cage is to keep pushing until the fight is over. According to Henry, holding back out of sympathy is not something that wins championships. He also made the point in his own blunt way that fighting is not a sport where you can afford emotional hesitation. Henry said when two fighters step into the cage, both men understand exactly what they signed up for. The goal is to win, and sometimes that means making brutal decisions in the moment. Henry even referenced Jiri's last samurai image, saying that if Jiri truly embraces that warrior mindset, then he has to fully commit when the moment presents itself. In Henry's opinion, being a warrior means making hard choices, even when they are uncomfortable. He also mentioned that with Jiri about to become a father, this should be even more motivation to fight with total focus. Henry's point was that in a sport this dangerous, you cannot afford to feel sorry for the other guy in the middle of battle. Ultimately, Henry believes Jiri's comments about mercy sound more like excuses than a real explanation for what happened. He thinks that after the loss, Jiri may be trying to make sense of a missed opportunity instead of simply accepting that Carlos fought through adversity and got the better of him. As for Carlos, Henry gave him full credit. He said Carlos did what champions do. When things got difficult, he went for broke, stayed aggressive, and found a way to win when everything was on the line.